Bring in Michael Kay, the Yes Network Yankees play-by-play announcer. The pregame show on Yes starts tonight at 6 Eastern. Game coverage with Mike, David Cohn, Paul O'Neill begins at 7. With the Astros there, how did last night play out in accordance to what you thought it was going to play out as far as the atmosphere, Mike?
The atmosphere was amazing, Dan. It was probably the best atmosphere for a baseball game since the ALCS in 2019. So they didn't have any fans last year. This year, there's been about 10,000 fans, 9,000, 10,000 fans at every home game. It's been lively when you compare it to nobody. But yesterday, 10,850 fans actually sounded like a crowd of 50,000. They were loaded for bear. They wanted to pay back the Astros. They've been waiting, storing this up. It was definitely a postseason atmosphere, to tell you the truth.
I don't know what your feelings were when this first came out that they had won the World Series and then there was the cheating there. We know the players weren't punished. It was the manager and the GM. But what should baseball have done?
Well, obviously, they kind of made the quote-unquote deal with the devil, Dan, where in order for the players to admit what they did, they were granted immunity. So you couldn't punish them after that. And I understand that. That's all part of doing business that way and getting some kind of admission on paper. But what they should have done, I don't understand why they didn't, and nobody's ever really given me a good explanation, is they should have taken away the World Series trophy and the World Series title. If you do that, then the players can't walk around with a ring and 50 years from now say they were world champions in 2017. And I think that's what angers the fans. And it doesn't get the Yankees a chance to play in the World Series in 2017. It doesn't get the Dodgers a championship in 2017. But at least there's some kind of justice that's extracted for what they did. Now, would they do it again? Well, why wouldn't they do it again? The players weren't punished at all.
Yeah, I said the same thing. Like, what's the deterrent? It's like Robinson Cano is still playing baseball, and he should be out of baseball. You get popped twice? I mean, come on. What is the deterrent anymore? Altuve ended up signing a contract that he's making close to $30 million a year. Like, okay, so it's tainted. I'm still making all this money, but I don't know. Is there any sympathy for the Astros? Like last night, as you're watching this, any sympathy?
It's funny you ask that because I think they all deserve the greeting that they got in the Bronx, and I expected it, and I think it's going to be worse tonight. But I felt a little bit sorry for Altuve, and here's why. This guy was one of the most likable players in all of baseball. He was a guy that people said, wow, if he could make it, anybody could make it. Against all odds, he became this great player. And if he thinks that yesterday is just a one-shot deal, it's not. As long as he plays this game, he is going to be the villain now. So he turned into from the favorite to the villain. And did he really need to cheat? Are his talents enough that if he didn't know the signs, would he still have been a great player? And I still believe he would have been. But now he's got this scarlet letter attached to him for all time, and he's going to be booed until the end of his career. And I kind of feel sorry for him a bit.
But there's levels of cheating, though, Michael. Like that's the hard part when we can do like baseball cheating where I'm at second base and I can look in and see where the catcher's situated, whatever. But, you got steroids in here. So it's kind of hard to go, okay, doctoring a baseball. Like what is, hey, that's okay, that's the game, and then what is not okay?
It's kind of like the old Supreme Court decision on pornography. I'll know it when I see it. It's kind of like you have to judge it for yourself. Like when the Red Sox were punished for 2018, Dan, I thought that was gamesmanship. All right, they studied the catcher's signs on a video. Then they told their players what the signs would be. When a guy got to second base, he actually transferred that to the batter. I think that's gamesmanship. But banging trash cans and having a live camera in the dugout in center field and transferring it into the alleyway of the dugout, to me, that was cheating. And the Astros know it was cheating. And then, the humorous thing was that they come out, Dan, and said, well, we didn't do it in the postseason. Oh, okay, I'll play along. So it worked all of the season, but you didn't do it in the postseason. And another reason why I think the Yankees are still upset, Gleyber Torres said this a year ago. Okay, it worked in 2017 and you won a World Series. You all of a sudden stopped in 18 and 19? You hadn't been caught yet. Why would you all of a sudden stop? Did you have this pang of guilt? The whole thing is still messy. And I'll tell you the truth, a lot of people in the Yankee organization think that things weren't in the up and up in 2019 either, when Altuve hit that walk-off home run against Chapman, but that's never been proven.
Well, it's like when Andy Pettitte said, hey, I just did it to come back from an injury. I used steroids and then I stopped. I don't know anybody who stops unless you have to stop. And, so that's another, that's more individual. This was systemic. This was an organization. But has Gerrit Cole ever talked about, you're a pitcher on the Astros, you benefited, even if, like, you're in the dugout. Like, did you hear the trash can being banged? Did you see the results of some of this? Did they keep it a secret from the pitching staff? Has Cole ever commented on, what he knew and when he knew it?
Well, it's funny. They didn't keep it a secret from Mike Fiers when he told the Athletic. So he's the one who blew the whole lid off of it. But he has been very quiet about it. He's answered some questions, but he hasn't been expansive. And he's one of the best athletes I've ever seen in answering questions, really thinking about them. But, he's saying that when he was there, he didn't see anything. And he just leaves it at that because, there hasn't been any proof that in those years they had done anything wrong. But in 2017, there actually is proof. So I guess he could, walk around it that way.
Is there a rivalry with the Mets and Yankees now? Is it, legitimate?
I think if the Mets end up being really good, those 6 games could be exciting. I really think, Dan, that the interleague play has kind of been played now. It's been overdone. The 6 games a year is too much. And unless they're both really good, I don't know if it's going to be the same sort of rivalry. I think the rivalries now are with the Astros, the Rays, and the Red Sox. And the Mets are more of a fun thing. But if they get good and, there's a battle for the city and, both fan bases get really into it, I think that will ignite that again. But I think it's those 3 teams in the American League that the Yankees really have a rivalry with.
Great to catch up with you, Michael. My best to Paul and David. Thanks. We'll be watching tonight.
Thanks, Dan. Have a great one.
That's Michael Kay, the Yes Network Yankees play-by-play announcer. Paul O'Neill, David Cohn. Their festivities start at 6 Eastern tonight on Yes.